The world's top thinkers, leaders, and innovators, one booking away. Mina Speakers, your part.
What is going on, family? Just testing a new software. Let me know if you can hear me. Pop out chat. Yeah, it should be good. See if the guys are in the chat. Can you hear me? Hear me, please. See if anyone picks that up. Big game on tonight, guys. Massive game that's going to be on tonight. And it's going to be Liverpool versus Arsenal, of course. And that's going to be a mega game, as you know. But before that, we can get a good quality stream in. Keeping it tight, time-wise. Hope you're doing well. Happy New Year to each and every single one of you. I hope all your dreams come true, man. It is technically year 5 of the cycle, so it's technically a bear market year, but we know otherwise. We came down, scooped up this liquidity. I think we're heading for $96,000 to $98,000 short term. Market is incredibly long. And liquidations have been immense. I mean, $360 million in the last 24 hours. But look at some of these altcoins. I mean, they've really moved in the last several days. But yeah, we'll talk about geopolitics. We'll talk about the current situation right now. If you look at everything on the weekly, it is a positive sea of red. I mean, you could have bought 27%. 60% for render there. Virtuals protocol has had a tremendous bounce off the bottom. 28% for Tau. I mean, there's been some decent movements. Unless you're solely focused on the daily or the lower time frames, even this is not bad. It could have been worse. And in fact, do we see one more dip in 2026? Potentially. See if I can get this chat going. Don't know why it's dead. Let's put some of this live chat. Well, this is should really pop up here. Let's forget this overlay here. Verifying if it's you. Well, it's me. Anyway, guys, let me continue. I need to go back to my old software because interacting over this is probably not the best way, but I can see there's 8 of us. Yeah, I can see your chat now. Brilliant stuff. Let me just see if I can grab this chat. Pop up chat. Yes, chat, I can see this now. Beautiful. What's good, Michael? Yes, Mr. Gerard there. I can see your chats now, which is brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. All good, bro. Happy New Year. And hopefully 2026, 2027 will be a smoother journey for us. Congratulations, Ralph. I mean, taking time off is most definitely advisable. It is definitely the best thing you can do when things are, especially when the chips are down, man. Look, at the end of the day, it only takes so much energy to continue to be in this game, honestly. And it's not worth half of the time. If you leave it alone, you'll end up doing very, very well, providing you're in the right projects. And spending time with your family, keeping your health in check. If you're working out, work out some more. Like I said, tonight, after the live stream, I'm heading straight down to my favorite local to watch Arsenal versus Liverpool. That's always in the calendar for me. So it's good to live life and not to be consumed by money will be made and people will learn from mistakes. I mean, every analyst this cycle has got it wrong. We've never had a 4-year cycle with a... We've never had a 4-year cycle, full stop. We've not had the traditional Bitcoin cycle. Now we've got institutions, we've got different, completely different flex on how things are going to go down. But one thing is clear, guys, assets have sorted themselves out. There are some valuable assets, and then there is a large amount of shit coins that will never do well. And the job that we have in hand is any dead count bounces, any kind of attempted recovery, you should really be streaming down the good old portfolio. And a lot of the times, you know, we, in our community, we of course, you know, we track tokens on Nansen. And a lot of the times it's quite reassuring to see how the whales play this game. You know, for example, we saw some crazy inflows today into the likes of Fartcoin and others. But of course, there's going to be, the market's going to be two sectors. I think there will be some really good, ultimately decent crypto projects that have use cases, and there's going to be the meme casino. And I think that's how the market's going to go in the future. There will be no there will be no two ways about that. You know, you either long term, you know, you start to accumulate, you know, good quality projects. I think bear market prices will be interesting as well. In my opinion, I think, you know, stuff like Solana below $100. I think we will see that towards that $50 mark. We will see, you know, the likes of Sui and stuff like that be less than like 40, 50 cents, even less. So there will be massive, massive opportunities to make money ultimately when the market crashes. But, you know, you've got $3 million in the last 24 hours just going into Solana coins. You see different fresh flows of different wallets. This is Cat, a meme coin, which has, you know, look at this chart. I mean, by all indications, you don't really see any positivity right there. You had a pump there, but in terms of money flow, you know, these wallets, net tokens, and wallets are buying and selling. And some people obviously are trading these on DEXs as well. So meme coins have made a pretty decent comeback, to be honest. I mean, Pepe, tracking the Pepe whales is absolutely insane. This is a really interesting project by the name of Zen. I don't know if you guys know what this is. I have covered this in one of my videos. And Horizon is basically a decentralized blockchain launched in May 2017, featuring over 43,000 active nodes, high security resilience, and has core innovations. Now, Fresh Wallets obviously got nearly $1 million worth of a token here. And that's quite interesting because Horizon is one of these on-chain privacy coins. So you know, we are going to use Nansen some more. I think the work that's been done by our team in the Discord is absolutely commendable. You know, we've got a few people now just watching smart wallets, tracking them. But this has been, you know, these are the kind of things. And then you can obviously break this down into far more detail than I can possibly even show you on here. But it just shows you not only DEX volumes, but how much money, you know, what's happening with fresh wallets. And I think that's going to be quite keen as we move on to what is arguably a bear market year, but because the 4-year cycle has been broken, nevertheless, an incredibly interesting year. So this is the back, you know, if you look at let's have a look at the opportunity for the Fed to cut rates, which I think 85 or 80% was the last time I checked. There will be no rate cuts this this imminent next kind of Fed meeting. If we do get a cut, it's going to be completely left field. So you've got to be prepared for these prices or the fear and greed to at least dip again, market to panic one last time, potentially depending on how high this current the current pump is. And because we've got liquidations stacked at around $95 to $96, $98,000, it's going to be quite interesting to see how that holds up with these liquidations. Because if we look at the liquidation heat map over the next kind of 3-4 days, you could see liquidity, CME gap, and of course liquidity. Look at this. I mean, this is absolutely ginormous. And that's why I think there's going to be a crazy squeeze to try and clear liquidity above this level. There is, of course, liquidity sitting all the way down here too, but it's not as attractive as the one that is over here. This is what the targets are. I think all this will be quite interesting to watch. So I think the prices will reverse 96,000. Of course, we've taken out 94 here, came down, and we've taken out all of this tremendous liquidity here. So I did post this in the group today or yesterday. I can't remember when it was. I think yesterday, and I did say that we will take out some of this stuff fairly quickly. But obviously we came up to here and we reversed from that. And now it seems to me we are heading towards potential recovery here. And there's a ton of shit over there. There's a lot of stuff here that needs to be taken out. Then what happens after that, I think then we will then come back down one more time while the macro picture sorts itself out. So pretty much like what I've said here. Just see why. Just refresh this page. So yeah, pretty much what we looked at here. And we saw this obviously coming up to the 200-day moving average, retesting it. Can we reverse out of this? Of course, is the big question before ultimately we do this 1, 2, 3 in clearing that liquidity to the upside. Potentially. I can't actually see what anyone is saying. Where's the chat? Restore this chat, man. What's happening here? Yorkshire in the building. Guys, if I highlight your comments, does it show up? My brother from Yorkshire there. Let me add you as a moderator there. Yeah, cool. Just gave you moderator there, bro. Steve, pick up yourself. Hope Yorkshire is very well, my friend. Hope Yorkshire is doing very well. Haven't been up there for a few But by the way, guys, do we have any Liverpool fans in the building? Do let me know, because tonight is the night when two become one. Some people were saying, look, fear and greed index. This is something that I made a comment about in my video today, my macro video today, and what we've seen in April, and what we've seen in basically since October, is a clear textbook. Now, the main difference is, guys, the main difference here is in October, I mean, back in April, we eventually went out to do a new all-time high. So clearly what you see here is in the fear and greed index. And this is a good way to judge crypto for sure. Because if you look at this, honestly, like sometimes the easiest the easiest answers just come in with these simple kind of analysis. You know, when we're down here, we buy. You know, when we get up there, we sell. Like, very, very easy thing to say now. But it's interesting comparing these two periods, right? Here, what we had in 2025, you know, the writing was on the wall, and almost everybody was hoping against hope, in the sense that 2025 was the 4-year cycle, right? That was the year of the top. But if you look at Bitcoin going to 126, and prior to that, we did 69 and some change. 2025 was a year where liquidity was tight. So we had tight liquidity. We had this inauguration that sent the market to these levels. Then we suffered throughout all of that. And I tell you what's changed in 2025, between 2025 and 2026. 2026, we're going into liquidity expansion period. And even that's not straightforward, because we are coming up to the end of the 18-year real estate cycle. So this is, you know, liquidity expansion in 2026, whereas 2025, we're still in quantitative tightening. So the difference between this period and this period is stark. Now, that was the danger. So we saw gold, of course, and silver rallying to new all-time highs. And that's going to continue to do that as long as we get more geopolitical impact, especially what's going on around the world, what's going on in America, Venezuela, Russia, Ukraine. But I did talk about the peace deal between Russia and the Ukraine. So do not rule that out. But the main difference between April and October, basically April, it wasn't when it started. You know, we went all the way back as far as probably January, February is when we started to lose momentum leading up to the Trump inauguration. So we had all of those months, and then followed by a massive expansion in fear and greed. Absolutely ended up with the top of the market coming in one of these green October events. But you can see, you know, I made a video in August 2025, and I said, look, good time to sell now, because I genuinely believe even if you take 20% out, it's going to do you wonders. And the reason for that was, rather than people looking at the quantitative tightening, because throughout 2024, you know, we've had some tightening as well, with period of relaxations, but nothing too open in terms of the liquidity. But if you look at this, right? So let's go to the same period. If you see here, April, we've basically hit bottom on reversal day here. And honestly, like, I know people don't like to pay attention. Of course, you've got to obviously, you know, you've got to do more analysis, but you know, this is as clear as a daylight. Now, my main mission is altcoin position reduction, right? That is ultimately few core projects that I don't really care how long it takes for them to pump. And then we trade other markets. Like, you know, 2024, we caught like the likes of Peanut and a few others here and there. But if you look at this, right? So you have April 9th. And of course, you had this high here from February. I really want you to understand this with me, because if you really get this picture, it just means that you can move with liquidity. So this is the Fed, right? Liabilities account basically tightening. So you see this increase here, right? Pulling liquidity out of the market. And if you look at the date, that is February 2025, right? So what was happening on the Bitcoin chart at the same time? Well, if you look back at February, we started the initial decline. So February was, let me just remove those lines. So if you look at February 2025, you'll see exactly why Bitcoin was dumping. So we got from the highs of, let's go to the weekly. You know, we had the highs, and then obviously we got this massive news coming in February. So if you look at February, the Fed started to hike their balance sheet. And as soon as you saw that, right, February here, exactly, there you go. There you go. So if you look at this period here, this is what, January 27th, and then you had the first candle here in February. Now, the reason I'm telling you this is because we can actually look at this chart and balance this with Bitcoin and see what Bitcoin was doing as the Fed was hiking rates. So on this particular day in February, the balance sheet was around 828 billion. But as it started to come down and as it started to correct, you saw a low here in July. And this was the initiation of the July run that we had. All right. Hassan said, if I had dry powder, I would look up more AI tech props and all. Just prices, juicy prices. Yeah, right now they're juicy prices. But I think over time, you know, we've got to evolve a little bit as well with where we put our dry powders, in my opinion. Because if you look at, for example, this is Say. If you look at Say's price action, it's got to go such a way in order to feel, for me, to actually flip bullish again. So right now, we're quite lucky in the sense that we are getting these at the all-time lows because we have the manipulation candle here. And I think that candle eventually, if we fill that at some point, it would mean a complete reversal. But right now, if you look at this price action here, this was October for Say. Now, Say is it's a very good layer one, no doubt about it at all. And if we look at the overall, let me just go back to what's going on here. I'll come back to you in a minute, mate. Say is a very good cryptocurrency. Unfortunately, even Monad as well. But Monad will come back into these, you know, hopefully we'll touch back 0.02357 again if it fails to hold this current level. But it's an interesting case. I mean, it really depends on what you're looking for, Hassan, in terms of, you know, how long you're willing to hold these. I mean, I'd be more happy to personally cull my portfolio, reduce a lot of stuff. I thought it died. What's happening with Octavia? I didn't even check, bro. Let me see if I drop your Octavia. I didn't really know it had a pump. But here's my point about stuff like Say, right? So a lot of people I know have this cryptocurrency at 12 cents. Really, if you're DCAing now, you've got to stop and you've got to wait to see what happens as per the chart. Now, it may not always go according to the chart, and that's understandable. It may well end up being a little bit, you know, if it comes down below 10 cents, you know, between this level and that level, I would absolutely bid for say. I think that would be a no-brainer. Casper is another one that I've been kind of just watching with keen interest. And again, you know, Monad, you know, if we go to the daily here, even the 4-hourly candle, you know, Monad here, there's a level here between these two levels. If this current level doesn't hold, I can see Monad becoming attractive again within this what do you call, let's see, within this range here. Ultimately, I mean, the ideal price would be for me to see what happens if it sustains this current breakout, which is around 2324, 2325. What's happening with Octavia, bro? I haven't seen Octavia and stuff like that for ages. Yeah, 63% low cap. I mean, look at this chart, right? 97% down from its all-time high. So, you know, I did see actually today that on Nansen that there was a lot of kind of smaller altcoin rotation that was happening. So could be one of those. Get overlay URL. So guys, you know, if I drop, do you guys see your comments being highlighted in the chat? Let me know if you can see when I highlight your comments. Was man's greatest civilization, but it messed up. I mean, look, you know, stuff like this, ultra risky. However, ultra degen. You know, I'm really against the degen market, unless the conditions apply. You know, so that is for sure one thing to consider. You don't see me highlighting your comments, right? Can't see the comments. Yeah, I'm all on your comments, guys, but what do you do? What's happening here, lads? Let's see if I can get these comments. I'm actually using OBS Studio because I like the resolution. But I have to admit, going back to what is this? What's happening here, man? Let me see. Yeah, I do like OBS for their quality. But it is far more complex to operate this than, say, something like a StreamYard. You know, so once I hopefully get the hang of this, because for example, if you like the video, see, do I see it? Well, doesn't even matter anyway. It doesn't matter because 2026, 2027 is going to be our year. Why? Let's continue without these comments. No fancy gimmicks until I figure out how to do this. Listen, the peace deal in Ukraine is going to be quite interesting. So when we see all these geopolitical mayhem, when we see what's going on geopolitically around the world, we have to remember, guys, crypto sometimes is a tool that only acts when there's liquidity in the market, right? There's no, we can have good news here and there, but ultimately, when the markets get back up, ultimately what it means is something is going to trigger a likely bull run event. Now, if I go into chat here, YouTube chat. Yo, I'd love to highlight your comments, lads. Let me know in the comments as well, Arsenal or Liverpool tonight for the big game. Try another way. Yeah, mine's got my phone with me, man. Come on. Authenticate. What? Check your device. All right, cool. As and when they find peace in the Ukraine, European focus will shift back on normal spending. I think it's an incredibly bullish thing for the market, in my opinion. And I think that's going to be the time when the market potentially reacts in a manner that is going to be very, very, in a manner that could trigger a bull market for altcoins. Because Europe right now is not... Energy prices are through the roof. There's a war next door. And of course, Russia, we could do with that positive rotation, to be honest. From the current situation of where things are. So when you see a lot of these headlines, they aren't necessarily damaging, for the markets. We also talked about this today, and if there's any danes in the chat, if there's any, Steve said Arsenal. That's amazing, man. Yeah, Steve. Hopefully Arsenal, man. We need to. I don't know if you actually saw. I don't know if you saw the Pep Guardiola, man. Pep Guardiola was crazy last night, but yeah, I am actually intrigued to see how the game goes. But listen, I think the way we can make, with the way we can actually smash Liverpool tonight, they don't have any decent players. They don't have any decent players left that are fit to play this game. So I think, guys, this is going to be incredibly bullish. Russia-Ukraine peace deal will be massive. And I think that's the first time we're going to see genuine greed in the market. Short-term pump, sell your dead positions, get out, and then come back and buy quality. What do I mean by quality? What I mean by quality is, A, chains that are used, right? Because the game is going to change, right? Unless you're preparing for a narrative, specific narrative, I don't know, AI agents or gaming or whatever. It might be something niche that specifically plays to your advantage. But the days of randomly buying bullshit and holding it for the long term are long fucking gone. Excuse my French, by the way. I apologize. And because those days are gone, what do we do with our portfolios? I've been saying this now for a very long time. Yes, we can make the one or two mistakes about certain altcoins that seem dead. And then, of course, we have the ability to either cut our losses and move on, fail fast and move forward, or you could double down based on the information that you have. But making mistakes is part of the journey, right? Making mistakes is honestly like, you can make as big mistakes, you know, people like, I don't know, Raoul Pal, people that I've met some serious people at the Bitcoin conference who were down millions of dollars, right? Millions and millions of dollars. We've been tracking the Hyperliquid Whale, who's now up from 50, I think it was down $58 million. He's now up $27 million. Yo, Hassan said the Gunners. It's going to be our year, finally, bro. Yes. Oh my days. My Playboy cigarette, my brother, big up to South African, man. Bafana. Happy New Year to you, bro. And lots of love to you and the family, of course, down there from beautiful South Africa. I haven't seen you in the Discord, bro. So if you're there, do hit me up, because you're one of the people that I want to work with when it comes to their portfolio, and anyone else for that matter that is in our Discord who wants a bit of a digestive cleanup for this next phase. Now, if this is genuinely a bear market, then we've been swimming in one for a long time. Okay, so if I go to my favorite bear market chart, sorry, let me just get the. So this has been our last 4 years, guys. This is all we got to show for 4 years of hard work. Apart from the occasional pump, this has been our bull market. And normally we don't see that, right? What we see is altcoins bottom in and then bam, hitting a ratio to trigger the bull market. Now, we have had like small spikes here, one notably in 2014, but this was the artificial Trump rally. So what I would say is, man, the boys can't see the chat, bro. Yeah, see, the good thing is there's also the ability to actually do polls here. Let me see. This is way better. Once we can connect this. It's our year, bro said. Bro's making me happy, man. So look, in a way, if we haven't seen this ratio being hit, but we're starting to make grounds above this trend line, then I think, look, any potential bottoming eventuality would come in the next few months, post a pump to take us back to the bottom of this kind of ratio here. So I will not be giving up on altcoins. Rather, I will be selectively buying and, of course, trading if I get an opportunity for a meme coin or a leverage position. Leverage is very dangerous. So I think sometimes finding a low cap, if there is a good narrative, is probably a good way to flip the market. Let's just say, nah, it's not gonna work on the live stream, but so that would be one good way. So the best way to look at this, guys, is some stuff has been really, really strong. I'm really surprised. For example, with regards to market caps, for example, look at Sui here at $1.80, right? The wick low here is still around 55. I think it comes back there. I think Sui gets back to about 55 cents. The question is, does it get to $5 before or after? Now, if you look at these waves, right, what we can see here is Sui potentially coming back down, and if it breaks around this $1.30 to $1.20, I can see us getting below $1. In order to flip bullish, we need to be at least at $2.80 to $3. Appreciate it, lads. Lads have been smashing the like. So that's one way to do it. The other way to do it is, of course, make a short list, right? Like genuinely make a short list of what you're looking at. I mean, if you look at this, what we have here is Meme Watch, August dip. That was August 2024. Sui ecosystem plays. And this is one of the best ways. And then you can obviously go between narratives, right? Like you can then say, okay, this is decent, you know, Tau ecosystem, for example, you know, you could do it that way, right? See, look, Sturdy Finance, look where it is now. And if we add a coin here, I would probably go to Taobot, right? Taobot. And I can look at the entire Tau ecosystem, because some of the Tau projects, and I know, of course, people always ask me, man, how do I buy it? The fact that I've actually made several videos on subnet tokens, Taobot, Tau Eco. It doesn't come up on here. Perhaps maybe that's one of the problems. Categories made in USA, and this will be another narrative, in my opinion, to keep eyes on. So these are all the made in the US. Despite the fact that, look, Sui, $6 billion, right? It's crazy. Like, the market caps will need to come down significantly. I think Neo Protocol is good value at $2 billion. That's pretty good value at $2 billion market cap. Aptos, skip that. Ondo, the unlocks, 40 cents. Not bad at all. It's going to come down maybe some more. Casper's been quite interesting. So, same market cap as Ondo, but with a smaller volume. So, what we have is this $1.2 billion market cap coins. So Casper versus Ondo at exactly the same market cap. Steve's got a brilliant list there. Hype, Cas, Tau, Sui, Toshi, one or two low caps, maybe odd, maybe props, and call it a day. I love that, bro. I really love that, because that, listen, risk to reward, you are taking a clear position, and I think what you have is several multi-cycle coins. So the risk to, the risk to reward is there. So if we look at some of your coins, good shout there, bro. Hype. So let's look at, from that list, you have Cas. So if you look at Casper here, 8%. So similar performance to Ondo. Volume 28 million versus 80 million, but that Ondo has derivatives as well. And Ondo has a significant unlock, I think, in sometime this month. Market cap is almost identical. They are both layer ones. Of course, this is proof of work and this is proof of stake. Institutional coin. I think the value for both of these is pretty good. I would love to see these dip below perhaps $1 billion before we get into any significant banana zone. It just represents a good buying opportunity, in my opinion. But these are very good too. And then, of course, from your list, Steve, you have Hype and CAS. Now, this is ultra safe. Sui and Hype. So if you look at Sui and Hype, similar market caps. Hype's bigger in terms of the overall market cap. The thing with Sui is $6.9 billion market cap, right? But what we saw here is whenever you see a prolonged downtrend, your coin's got to be able to, especially if it's a large cap, it's got to be able to react. And what this did was a violent reaction to the upside. Of course, getting just under $2, and that's a good sign. At the end of the day, it is a very secure long-term bet, and I think Sui's true cycle, true potential will be in the next few years. So if you look at, for example, the latest news on Sui, it has a Bitwise ETF as part of 11 altcoins, naming Sui as a candidate for inclusion. And it's always good to kind of see what your coin is doing in a kind of not in a bear market, but what the team is up to, who's filing for what, and I think that's pretty cool for Sui. I'd probably say this kind of reminds me of Solana because of the first cycle syndrome, right? You kind of like see this massive pump from really 15 cents or 47 cents all the way to $5. It did 10x this cycle, right? But now it's getting more maturity. It's getting more spot ETFs. It's becoming a lot more palatable. And despite the unlocks, the market cap's still at nearly $7 billion, right? So that's a pretty big news for the Sui ecosystem. The fact that they've got a Bitwise filing, that's included in there. And of course, the ETF is going to make a significant impact. Now we know from tracking ETFs, right? We know how these flows impact a particular asset, right? Spot ETFs. We've got, let's see what's going on here. Slightly down IBIT. Net inflow, kind of like in the last 24 hours. So Bitcoin, BlackRock is down. But other ETFs look to be having net inflows. So if we look at net inflows, Grayscale continues to, and this is why I think it's important to look at big caps like Sui, and large caps with potential ETFs. Even say at some point will file and has already some ETF interest. But the one that I saw today that was negative was Ethereum. Bitcoin ETFs are doing slightly better than Ethereum, but that's for the short term, in my opinion. So ETFs are a good way for cryptocurrency to gain institutional exposure. And if you look at what's been happening with the net ETFs anyway, and some of the, some of the smaller alts will eventually have smaller ETFs, but overall, IBIT's holding the largest shares, and then of course GBTC, FBTC here, ARK, I believe that's ARK. Yo lads, anyone heard from Cave? I haven't heard Cave a few days. So yeah, that's a really good, in my opinion, that's a really good portfolio. And in addition to that, it's always good to roast these portfolios, right? So if we look at, for example, the Hypecast, Tau, Suitoshi, and Aerodrome. Now, here's the thing. If I was to roast that portfolio, I mean, possibly it would be very difficult, right? It'd be very difficult. Now, what we can say is, from a pricing structure, to look at Sui here, right? To give you like the full picture on a portfolio like that, we are at a very key resistance. So here's what I would consider, Steve. If you look at this level where the price is at now, I'll just turn this red line into a solid purple line so you can see it. So if you look at where Sui is today, realistically, we have this massive important level of resistance going all the way back to 24, 23, and then we've been here back in 24 as well, and then it became resistance here back in 2025, and it continues to be resistance. So what we need to do is to flip this 184, 183 level into support. Break. If that becomes the key resistance, then I can see a test to, this level here, this blue line. So between the blue line and the purple line, if we was to roast this, it has about probably another 20% potential to the downside. And if we can flip that level, we should really then be on our way to a similar pump here of about 24%. So both opportunities are absolutely there for the taking. Obviously, this resistance level that it's on right now is crazy important one. So yeah, if I was to kind of roast your portfolio, there's nothing to roast. The other one is Bitensa Tau. Now Tau, despite the fact that we had the halving, look at the volume, right? $224 million volume, a $2.7 billion market cap, and an aggressive response to the lows at around $220. 214 was done with like $88 million in volume. So for me, this actually shows a massive resilience of Tau. Doesn't really go up much, but we did actually highlight levels to the downside potentially if we end up going there. So I would probably say Tau above $200, and to the downside must hold 160, but super big pick over there. And then of course Hyperliquid. Now Hype, according to my Nansen data that I shared today in the Discord, the Hype accumulation was real. It was crazy, absolutely insane. And I don't know when you got into Hype, but Hype had so this is what I literally caught on Hyperliquid, right? So Hype has massive accumulation from as K-Man says, I'm mining some stable coins. Significant tip. Tau is a beast. Yeah, 100%, bro. Facts. But yeah, Hyperliquid is also pretty solid. And overall, I think, look, Aerodrome Finance, I did do a base video this week. And I do believe Aero still remains as the key central liquidity hub for the base ecosystem. Now, what's good about it is that got $500 million in market cap, and we still have very good TVL. TVL to market cap is nearly 1-to-1, which is very good. And as long as that remains the case, fully diluted $1 billion. Trading volume has dropped off significantly. I mean, imagine Aerodrome with these kind of metrics. So right now, is the base token going to kick Aerodrome out of the order? Absolutely not. They are building base with Aerodrome in the kind of epicenter. Now, there is a discussion about the inflation regarding the VE Aero. I don't know if you stake yours, but should really be interesting to see if how that pans out. But lads, let me see if it's has the game kicked off. See if we can. And it's awesome. No. Oh damn. See, it's kicking off at midnight, and it is midnight. So yeah, it's been an amazing stream, guys. Hopefully keep mining that USDT, bro, because that's amazing. VPay, I haven't heard of it, bro, but I will take a look for you because the match is kicking off. VPay, $3 million market cap. Damn, man. Volume, base. I will take a look. Probably give you more of an insight next time round. But yeah, I've got to go on the world's first AI-powered Omnibank. I'll have to do some forensics on this, bro. But anyway, guys, smash a like. It's your boy. Great to be back with you guys. I'll do more live streams. Hopefully, I'll figure out how to do this bloody comments on the videos. And as always, come on, the Gunners. I'm going to go and watch the game, man. Take care, guys.